Zoom or yeah.
Oh, everything's happening. Everything's happening. All right. Where's Corey?
I just spoke to him. He's getting on in 1 minute.
Meaning he's going to the bathroom.
Or preparing his breakfast.
I know, right?
Or his teeth, one or the other.
Crazy. It's good. It's good. Hey, Alex Camacho. Hey, Ashley Watson. And Jessica Brown. Hey, Jessica. And the Jacobsons coming around the corner. Island of Maui. Hi, hi, hi. Lloyd. Hey, Nido's with us.
How you doing?
Love the fact that you stay with us at the early hours, late hours of the day, man.
Yeah.
Nidal is the man.
That is
Thank you.
awesome.
I appreciate it. I want to be like you.
I know.
That's
That's
awesome.
commitment right there.
Alex, are you in your office, your bedroom, your living room, or?
This is my garage. I converted it into an office.
I love it. Low budget burr, office burr.
Office hack and house hack.
And a house hack, man. That's how you got to do it. That's awesome. Sweet. That's fantastic. Chris Brown's in the house. Jasmine Terrence. Justin Acuna. Elijah.
There's Corey Namoto. He's in the house.
Corey Namoto decided to show up. Woohoo! That's awesome. It's Friday. It's Friday. Friday, we got coffee. Everybody got coffee for the coffee talk. It's good stuff. Anybody down in the Southern Belt that's part of this whole second wave of pandemic that apparently is coming back with high numbers? Any of you guys in those states?
Right in Florida.
Is that happening in Florida right now?
Oh, yeah. They just shut down. They're closing down a lot of stuff again.
No kidding. So
4,000 new cases like yesterday.
Yeah, like yesterday and today.
Yeah.
This is actually still the first wave.
Day
This is
before was
still the first
32.
wave.
So this is still the first wave.
Yeah.
It's the extended first wave. It's the surf you can't get off.
Yeah.
Right.
That's amazing. How about where you're at? Is that a deal down there?
Well, I'm in Saudi Arabia right now.
Wow.
I just got to Riyadh last week, and so I'm in quarantine for 2 weeks. So when you enter the country, you have to essentially be locked up in an apartment for 2 weeks. It's not. I mean, the numbers here are not staggering like a lot of the states in the U.S. The population is about 35 million. On average, every day there's about 3,000 cases. So it's relatively high. But there's a curfew, like after 8 p.m. you can't go out. So they're trying to sort of prevent the spread, but it's proving difficult. I mean, the numbers continue to rise, although they're not as high as they are in a lot of other places around the world.
Interesting. So 14 days you got to stay inside the apartment and order food in. And what if you go out? Is it like Hawaii where they actually find you and they give you a ticket?
Don't tell anyone, but I went out for a walk tonight. But I didn't talk to anyone or touch anyone, right?
Well, then we won't tell you that this is live on Facebook.
Yeah, I know. But it's unlikely that anyone around here is watching. So
That's awesome. Well, you got to get out. 2 weeks is a long time in an apartment.
yeah, I already did a week. But yeah, no, it's fine. I've been busy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, tell us about the real estate market when you start scoping it out. It'd be interesting to see what things are like down there.
I don't buy anything around here. This is a big boys game. You have to be like big developer, and everything is about speculation here. You have to put in a lot of money to speculate, so it's really not worth it. Yeah.
Interesting though. That's cool. Well, glad you're tuning in. What time is it in Saudi Arabia right now?
It's 11 p.m., so it's an hour earlier.
Okay, so not quite as bad.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's not too bad.
Nice. That's awesome. Hey, aloha, Helena. Long time no see. We're glad you're with us. Clifford Wright. Nice background.
Thanks.
Is that your real background?
No, it's my house, but it's just a picture.
Oh, okay. If it was your real background, I'd be like, brother, you're gonna do this in your driveway?
What
That's
island are you on, Clifford?
On Maui.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Do you know Greg, Godhet, and all those guys?
No. I just hopped on recently last week or two.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Yeah, just been hanging out.
Yeah, we should definitely introduce you to those guys. The Maui crew is solid.
Nice.
Tay and Zasha are in Maui as well.
Yeah. Most important question is are the restaurants open on Maui? Monkey?
Some are.
Oh
Some
yeah.
are. Yeah. We actually went out to eat the other day for the first time in a few months.
How about Monkey Pod?
I don't know about Monkey Pod. I didn't make it down that far. I'm all the way out in Haiku, so.
Oh,
Oh
it's the Monkey Pod pie, bro. That'll bring you out of quarantine any day of the week.
yeah. And Mai Tais.
Yeah, that's awesome. Right on. Well, cool. Well, glad you're with us. Are you a real estate investor or
Kind of just newer at it. I have a few properties, but mainly my business building that I have that we rent out the upstairs, and then my home where I rent out another section of it. But we're looking to kind of do a little more with it now.
That's awesome. And all your properties are on Maui?
On Maui, yeah.
Nice. Solid. Well, we're glad that you're with us. Any challenges that you're running into right now in your investing?
Just finding somewhere to put my money. That's about it. But we only started a few weeks ago, really kind of looking. My wife's a realtor, so that helps the situation a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we have connections here and there, but we just weren't really looking until like a few weeks ago. Decided that we wanted to do it more. We've always enjoyed it, but we haven't really played in it too much. We've been focusing on my business for the last 10 years or so. So.
Is there dual agency in Maui, in Hawaii?
Yeah, you can do dual agency. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good to know.
Can you not do dual agency in California?
Absolutely, but it represents out of like 50 deals that I've done on the MLS, like 80% of them been because of dual agency. I was just talking to a newer investor about it, and she's like, I sent in all these offers, they're like 50 offers, I haven't got a deal. I'm like, are you writing the offer? Who's writing the offer? She's like, well, I'm an agent, so I'm writing them. Like, that's your problem. That's why you haven't bought a deal.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah. People like. It's like at the end of the day, the agent gets the listing, it's a fixer or it's an opportunity. What do you think they want to do? They want to make as much money as possible. Yes, they want to represent their seller, but I think it's one of those things that like there's the way the game is played, like supposed to be played, like the rules, and the way the game is actually played. Yeah. And so I think that there's a confusion sometimes with newer investors that are agents because they're thinking like an agent and they're no longer thinking like an investor. So
nice, yeah, that's good stuff, man. I like it. We should do a whole chat on that topic alone about agency representation.
Hi, Kakoa.
Hey, hello.
Hi, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Eileen. I've been hopping on since the first call, but this is the first time that the camera and the voice is on because you're all so cool and advanced, and I'm just learning. So I live in LA, and I'm just looking for my first deal. Haven't done one yet. I'm a high school teacher, and I found out because I listened to a podcast that Cory Namoda did about abundance, and I was like, I can hop on that wagon. So I'm here.
Right on. Well, that's fantastic. Awesome. What city are you in LA?
I'm sorry, that was two questions at once.
I think Cory asked what. Say your name again.
Oh, Eileen.
Elena.
Eileen. Or you can just say Ellen. It's okay.
That sounds good. And then, so what city are you in LA?
So I'm in a little tiny town called Tahunga. It's in northeast LA, but it's amazing. Property values for single families have doubled or tripled in the past 10, 15 years. Yeah, but I guess Glendale, Burbank, so up there. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Just northeast LA.
Yep, that's awesome. Well, good. We're glad you're with us. This is the right place to be to get to learn a little bit about your first deal. Check out the Keiko Exchange website or Facebook page too. We have a ton of deal analysis information down there.
Awesome.
So that would be a pretty cool place to start. But well, let's just officially kind of get started since we're all gathering here, hanging out a bit. I'll let Corey just share some opening words, and then we'll do our what we usually call our leads and needs. So if anybody's got a lead to share or a need that you're looking for a deal, looking for money, looking for love in all the wrong places, any of that kind of stuff, that will be the appropriate time in a couple minutes. So Corey, kick us off.
Okay. Oh, well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us on a Friday. It seems like Friday at this hour seems to be okay. I know everything's opening back up, so hopefully the time frame still works out for everybody. But before we start, I just wanted to say, I'm really proud of how the Facebook group is coming along, and I want to encourage everybody to keep visiting there. And I see contacts being exchanged, deals being done, and people helping each other, and that's what basically this was all for, right? To kind of lift each other, and because this business is hard to do by yourself. There's not many people that make it very far, all on their own. So if we, us helping each other is just an amazing thing, and it's kind of playing along how we all wanted it to. And so I just wanted to say that, I encourage people to, keep on the Facebook group and supporting each other. And it's just awesome to see, people helping each other and us doing deals together. And then lastly, I wanted to just challenge everybody to maybe reach out to one person in the group or people that you see here online and just connect, see how you can serve them, see what they're all about, where they're from, what they're doing. And, before next week's call, just reach out to one person who you don't know and then see how you can help each other. It doesn't even have to be in real estate. Could be, in life in general. So anyways, just wanted to say that. And thank you guys for always hopping on. And I think we're building something very special here.
Nice. Yeah, on that note, Corey, I think that's a great idea. A lot of us, there's some deals that are being made right now. It's kind of cool. We had I think it was Wisconsin, 3 houses got sold right here within this network. So it's kind of cool. So why don't we do this? Go jump in the chat for everyone that is open to doing it. Drop your name and the city that you're in and your email address. And then kind of what Corey said is if you see somebody that, doesn't look too threatening, some folks aren't showing their faces, which is cool. But if their name sounds cool, like Elijah Frost, reminds me of a Frosty. Sounds good. I like to get to know him. Just kind of pick somebody that you might say, hey, I would love to try to get to know somebody. So drop your name, your city, and your email address there. And it would be fun. Justin's going to capture that too. And maybe we can link some folks up so we can start doing some deals together and sharing some best practices. But let's do some leads and needs. Anybody got a lead or a need that you have that you want to share with anybody else? Cheryl Matsuoka, nice to see you. How are you, Auntie Cheryl?
Unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. How are you?
Hi, Cheryl.
Fabulous. Very busy. Hey, Corey. Hey,
Yeah, well,
Lena.
you own half the restaurants on the island of Oahu, so you should be busy.
I know, and they're struggling. We had a reopening, so yeah. Today my bars are opening today.
Yeah, that's great. But there's like 25% capacity though, yeah?
My restaurants originally, when we met with the Department of Health, they were going to give me 33 1/3. I was able to get 50%
Right on.
Nice.
capacity, and now we have a sidewalk dining where I can get a city and county a free permit, and some of them can extend to the sidewalk if there's accessibility for wheelchairs and pedestrians.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it's been a tough season for all of you in the restaurant business. So our hearts go out to you. We cheer you on for struggling through it. And, all of us who, anybody that's on this call and you have a chance, support one of Cheryl's restaurants. She's got the tacos, she's got the Rainbow Drive-ins.
And I'm pivoting also, right? Because, you look at, Corey and I and Layla talk about this. You look at things that are vulnerable during a time as a pandemic, and before that, of course, when the market crashed in 2008, you look at that. So we're pivoting, and we're just been approved as the most recent UPS store franchisee. So we're opening our first store in 2 months, and then after that, go for another location.
That's awesome.
they're considered essential, so they have to stay open.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did awesome during the pandemic because everybody was mailing stuff. So yeah, great, smart pivot. I like it.
And I just want to do a quick plug or just a quick intro for Cheryl to everybody here. Cheryl was a huge part of helping me along in my career getting started. She let me into the mastermind group here in Hawaii, which was only supposed to be for, you know, experienced investors at the time. And I wasn't an experienced investor. So I was the admin person. So, I was the assistant and admin person. But luckily, I was able to get in that position because Cheryl let me in. And that's where I met, all the investors. And I got to sit in on meetings that are high level with people who are doing deals and learned a lot. So thank you, Cheryl. I owe a lot to you. And she's kind of one of the reasons why we've also started a group like this, because I learned something very important, which I think everyone should be aware of and take with them. It's the concept of social capital, and basically expanding your network and with great people and surrounding yourself with great people, because that's something that will pay you in so many ways, more than just dollar bills, right? So, and it'll pay you over and over again. So that's basically what we're doing here. And that concept of social capital is something we learned from Cheryl. So
That's awesome. Cheryl, thanks for training Corey well.
Proud of you guys.
He's been a great partner. And so I think I owe it all to your mentorship.
Part of you guys, proud of all of you. You guys are doing a great service to people who are looking for, different streams of revenue at this time, right? So it's good.
Yeah, it's awesome. Hey, Cheryl, somebody in the chat says, Jasmine said that if you're looking for another UPS store, they know of one in Hawaii for sale. So Jasmine, drop your email in there and then Cheryl can give you a call. She's probably willing to pick up a couple of UPS stores. That's awesome. Let's move on. Ashley Wasson just posted. She's looking for a double-digit cap. Is that a shower cap you're looking for, Ashley? What kind of cap you're looking for?
Yeah, inner and outer liner,
Perfect,
just so
yeah.
doesn't leak.
Nice. No need leaking because you got to make them look pretty. But tell us a little bit about the double-digit cap. What you're looking for? What city? What kind of ROI, cash on cash? Give us your quick lowdown.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be super transparent. I've only looked into 3 particular markets, and it's Huntsville, Jacksonville, and Indianapolis. So I bought a Tesla, and the only way that I could justify the purchase, because it's $1,200 more per month than what I pay right now. And the only way I could justify that purchase is if I acquired an asset to cover the difference. So that's what I'm going to do in the next 30 days. I'm pulling the trigger on something, and I'm very, very motivated. So I was thinking of getting something turnkey, but then I was like, well, I make 12% when I invest with you guys. So it's got to make more sense than that, because otherwise I'm just going to give you guys more money, and I'd rather buy and hold. So I need to make at least $1,200 on whatever I acquire, whether it's multifamily, a couple houses, or one.
That's awesome. So you bought the Tesla first, and now you're going to go find an asset that gives you passive income to pay for the purchase you already did.
Yeah. Well, the Tesla's not here yet. It's going to be here in a couple weeks.
Oh, so 2 weeks, you got to get the revenue. Gotcha.
3 weeks.
Well, my associate, Tomas Cardenas, who we lovingly call my extra hard drive, he has a 16 unit in Ohio available. So if you're interested in Ohio.
Is Ohio, I don't know much about Ohio market. Is that an emerging market?
Ohio is what they say in Japan, yeah, to say hello, good morning, Ohio.
That's super important.
Tomas.
Ashley, you should call Tom Porter. He's a phenomenal agent out of Cincinnati. The best.
Okay.
Is Tom on today? He usually is on, but Tomas, just two seconds. Give a quick lowdown on the 16 unit in Ohio.
Yeah, so I connected with the seller of the property yesterday about a few of his Washington properties. He doesn't want to sell any of those. So, I mean, I just spoke to him yesterday. He said he had an Ohio 16 unit. that he wants to sell. So I can get more information if you're interested in that.
Yeah, I want to know, how much occupancy rate. I don't know if they're suffering with, rentals right now. So
I don't even know
any
the address
information
right now, so I'll make sure I definitely get a lot more intel to give you. So
cool.
I'll work on it.
I'll message you, Thomas. Thank you. And then Scott, I'll message you too for Tom Porter, you said?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, great guy.
Good guy.
We just
I want to
closed
say
the deal.
thank you. By the
we
way,
just closed.
oh, go ahead.
No, I said we just closed the deal for one of his people last week. So great guy.
Cool.
That's awesome.
I definitely wanted to be a fixer. So I realized that I narrowed the search. So I posted on the Facebook page, and I want to say thank you. That was actually a really great platform. People stepped up. I posted on a few different groups, and this was the most active and the most informative. So super huge thanks to everyone who did respond. And there was a lot of great opportunities there. I just narrowed my search after that post to definitely wanting a BRRRR. So I want to, because I want to use hard and private money instead of using my savings. So thank you for everyone who stepped in. Honestly, I think that's proof in the pudding. I was super proud.
That's awesome. And actually, Jasmine just said that she's selling her Jacksonville property. So reach out to her. And then she's on the chat. But thanks for that comment. And I want to echo what Ashley says. I think what's really cool about the Facebook page, it's Keiko Exchange. It's really cool because everybody's super interactive, and that's really the heart behind what we're doing here on this coffee talk is we're learning together, just sharing. It's kind of like a no-host coffee hour. And so if you guys don't come ready to share and talk, then it's going to be really boring because Corey and I talk all week long anyways. So it's just great to get all of you on and hear kind of the cool stories that you folks have. So right on. So anybody else? Gosh, there's a lot of good units up here. Corey, we need to be looking at some of these deals. Jacksonville, Ohio.
Well, that before we move on to the next person, I think there's a great lesson there. Is so Ashley's put a deposit down for her Tesla, and I think we should always keep in mind, right? Like kind of like the rich dad motto. It's like it's never how. It's like it should never be we can't afford this or afford something. It's how can we afford what you want, right? Because as soon as you think of that you can't afford something, you lose your ability to be creative in figuring out a problem. So if you want something bad enough, it should be how can you get it, instead of you can't afford it or you can't get something, right?
That's awesome, Corey. That's all about mindset. And today's guest, we're going to actually talk a bit about mindset. So that's a great intro in just a moment. So get ready for that. It's going to be good stuff.
No problems, Coco. Just solutions, right?
All solutions. That's why I call you all day.
I know. Thanks. At night.
We need to come up with another 100 million. Can you do it? Scott's always like, absolutely. Right on, bro. Let's do it. Awesome. Cool.
Hey,
Anybody else? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so this is Troy. So just one thing, I know this is leads and needs, but I call it leads, needs, and good deeds. I just want to thank you for all that you've done. You've been super gracious with your friendship, mentorship, and everything, and kind of leading us through the kind of acquiring some properties, but then also, most recently with some private money lending. And so we're just thankful to you for kind of, again, being so gracious with your time and knowledge with us. So that's all.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Troy. So Troy is, he's an entrepreneur. Resume includes Disney executive and a whole host of things. He and his wife just this year decided to go into real estate professional status, which is a tax status. If you don't know what that is, go Google it. It's phenomenal. It causes your W-2 income to basically disappear to no taxes. But they jumped in this year. We got them a fourplex in a place called Puyallup, Washington, over 10% cash on cash. They didn't even have to do a single thing to 2 units, and I think doubled the rent in those 2 units almost, which is cool. And then they just started investing with us on our adult family home project up here in Bellevue. So you're going to all hear a lot more about that. And then not too long down the road, I'm sure you're going to hear Troy mention about a project that he's going to do one day. So it's good stuff. This is what this is all about, is helping each other, growing together, getting involved together. So yeah, Troy, thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. You look like you're out for a walk or something.
We're dealing with a sewer problem. Not quite the same.
Oh, yes. Welcome to real estate investing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, good luck. Let us know if you need anything. Actually, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, if anybody's got a good sewer company, Troy's looking for one. So if you've got a good sewer company, throw it on the chat, and Troy would probably really appreciate it. He's trying to get an inexpensive fix on a very expensive sewer intrusion issue.
Yes, thank you. Exactly.
Absolutely. Right on. Anybody else got any leads, needs? I like your other thing, deeds. That's cool. Otherwise, we'll start to transition. But anybody real quick as we wrap this part up?
Hi, Keiko. Sindhu here.
Hey, Sindhu. Aloha.
Aloha. Hi there. Hi, hello,
Welcome.
everyone. This is Sindhu Jaka here. I'm a real estate broker as well in Washington State. I have been working with Corey on one of the transactions. I'm representing the buyer, and that's how I got to know him and got to know about this group. So this is really cool. So I also do a lot of off-market properties. So I had one duplex in Kenmore, Washington for $650,000. It's 3-bed, 2-bath each side, and the market rents are $2,500 on each side. So it's a great location, Kenmore downtown, a very good appreciating market. And the location is like 30 minutes from Seattle downtown as well as Bellevue. So it's a very great location. So if someone is interested, they can reach out to me. I have posted my email address and contact details in the comments.
That's awesome. So yeah, look up Sindhu Jaka. So then anybody that's up in Washington side, so that would be like John Kim and some of the folks up in the Northwest, or if you're outside the Northwest and you want a decent duplex, that could be a good one. And Sindhu, you do investing like in other parts of the country too, is that right?
Yes. So me and my husband are investors. We started investing in real estate, and then I thought it'll make more sense if I become a broker. So we do own a few rentals in Washington, and we have syndicated a few deals in Houston, and we have a couple properties under contract, and we are raising money on that. If somebody is interested, I can send more details on those properties.
That's awesome. Yay. Yeah, well, let's definitely stay in touch as well.
Sure.
Fantastic. Okay, so if anybody's interested in duplex off market, Graham, Washington, good location. Sindhu's information, I think, is in the chat. So if not, Sindhu, just throw your email address up there. That would be awesome.
Thank you, Sindhu.
Sweet. Hey, Jacob Ordenstein's on. That's an old friend of mine. Welcome, man. Good to see you. Lilia Choco's on. Right on. Well, hey, it is, we're going to transition. Each week, Corey and I try to bring a friend of ours on just to kind of learn some things and dialogue. And I think we get a lot out of the leads and needs and just kind of sharing some of those things. And we love it because this group is really helping each other become successful. And so if you've got other deals that come up in the week or questions, like Ashley said, post it on Keiko Exchange. Anything real estate, anything passive income oriented, anything cash on cash oriented, throw it up. You got a question, you need a sewer company or something like that, just throw it up there. And let's see if we can help you figure out some of that stuff out. And then today, I believe, he is on. So a good friend of ours is a commercial airline pilot. His name's Steve Rozenberg. He's out of Texas. Some of you have probably heard him on a lot of different podcasts. He's a big shot. Not only is he a big shot famous, but he's also big shot because he's massive. His biceps are larger than my entire head. And he's one of the most humblest, one of the nicest guys around. And he's somebody that just has a really cool real estate investment story. And there's so many facets to his story, it's almost difficult to figure out how to fine tune it. But we're gonna kind of talk through some things. And he's got so many different gems to learn from that I would love to invite you as we have the conversation, throw in the chat any questions along the way. Steve is a really, really busy guy. He's usually in the air, hardly ever is he on the ground. And when he's on the ground, he's got so many things to get to. He's in between video shoots right now. We're literally giving his camera crew a 30-minute lunch so we can have this chance to kind of pick his brain a little bit. Wanted to invite him in because of the fact that, you know, he had to pivot back in right after 9/11 happened. And he's become highly successful in real estate investing. And he's somebody that now teaches others what he's done. He's built up a phenomenal corporation that he actually sold, managed over 1,000 apartments, and now is really traveling the country teaching others how to replicate success based on mindset. So really a phenomenal guy, great heart. Steve Rozenberg. Let's give him a hand real quick. Woo! Right on, Steve. I don't know if we can hear you. Is your mute on?
Well, before we go to Steve too, did you say we were live on Facebook or did we figure that out?
It's not live right now. We were live for a little bit. We're recording right now.
Gotcha. Okay. And Steve also has one of the biggest hearts too, and he's running a show on for Bigger Pockets as well. So you guys should follow him and go check him out when you can. Take it away, Steve.
How you guys doing today? Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, Steve, we can hear you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the very, very kind words. I appreciate it, man. I always learned when I started doing this that, I hate to date myself, but, back in 2001 after 9/11 and trying to figure out all that stuff, these groups didn't exist. And, you really, really had to figure things out on your own. And you had to, you kind of had to figure your way through things. And the internet wasn't as big, YouTube, there was no Bigger Pockets, all that kind of stuff. So the fact that I can help people and give back a little bit is my way of kind of paying it forward. And, like everyone else on here, I'm out there grinding it away. I'm out in front of a rental property. I was doing some filming for Bigger Pockets and stuff, and I stopped to do this and everything. But like everyone else, I see deals, I do stuff, I do everything. So I'm just like everyone else here. I just have a different way of looking at things probably. And I just have people understand we could look at the same picture and everyone can see something different. And I think I just bring to the table a different view than what the average person sees. And I just try to, help people see what I see, I guess you could say.
That's awesome. Right on, Steve. Well, yeah, we want to just kind of dive into your story just a little bit.
Yeah.
That camera angle, by the way, makes you look humongous. Like you're taking up.
I'm in my car. I'm trying to figure out where to put this thing. So I'm sorry, man. How's that? Is that better?
No, dude, it's great. It's great. It's intimidating. It's like, yeah, we'll listen. No worries, man.
Like a giant, huh?
No,
yes.
So just really quick, Steve, for some reason, you get a little bit cut off just kind of towards the end. I think it may be just a connection. So we'll let you know if we can't hear you at some point. But 9/11 happened. You were a commercial airline pilot. You're in your 20s. Life is looking awesome ahead of you. Things are great. That was the only job you ever dreamed of. And then 9/11 happened and you had to pivot. Tell us a little bit about that pivot and what was the mindset that kind of got you into the real estate world?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up, born and raised in Los Angeles, and all I ever wanted to do as a kid was be a pilot. That's all I ever wanted to do. I never even knew what real estate was, didn't even understand it, was not my gig. And, I never thought that my life would take this path. And I got hired at 25 years old with a major airline. I was living in Guam, flying out of the South Pacific, flying all over Asia. And I had the best job in the world. In August of 2001, I moved from Guam to Houston because that's where the headquarters of the airline was. And up until about September 10th, 2001, I had the most safe, secure job and the best job that anybody could ever imagine. On September 11th, we all know what happened, the tragedies. And September 13th, I realized that safe, secure job was not safe and secure because I was given a furlough notice along with 2,000 other pilots. And basically they said, thanks a lot for playing. We need to protect the shareholders and we are doing what we have to do. And we are going to cut your job basically. And it's very humbling when, you have something that your whole life is focused on. And when you realize that you can't do that thing anymore, you're very helpless. And you're helpless in the sense that, number one, I wasn't qualified to do anything else. All I knew how to do was fly this metal tube around in the sky. I didn't know how to do anything. And so when you're so specialized, and that specialization is on the street with 50,000 other pilots, you realize you're really not as safe and secure. And you're actually the most unsafe and unsecure because you have no leverage points. You cannot dictate anything that goes on with your life. And so you got to imagine too, this wasn't like something that would go on within a couple months. Like even what we're going through right now, people in certain industries may say, okay, we're going to be downsizing, things are going to be coming, I need to prepare. What happened with me was in a matter of 72 hours. So you go from this career of having the best life in the world to basically having it ripped out of your hands like a Band-Aid being ripped off. And all of a sudden you're just like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to pay my mortgage? What am I, you know, and I actually, because I had come from Guam, my stuff was still on a boat. It was actually coming to Houston still. So I was living in an apartment, me and my wife, and all of my shit was basically somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. And I didn't even know where my stuff was going to go because I wasn't going to be working for this company anymore. And so luckily I never ended up losing my job. I came within 30 people of the bottom of a 6,000 pilot seniority list. And what I realized was that there is no control when you're an employee. Basically, you have no control, you have no leverage. So I realized I needed to do something else, and I didn't know what that something else was. And I was kind of, it's almost like when you're drowning and you're scrambling for air. I was just scrambling to figure out what I would do. And I started like just reading anything I could on people building wealth. And a lot of things ended up being tied back to real estate. At some point in people's lives, they owned real estate. And I thought, well, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. Let me learn. So just to date myself, I had to go to the library and I had to get a library card. So I'm at the library renting, pulling out books every week. I read a book a week for probably about 1.5 years, 2 years. And I just consumed everything I could on real estate because I felt like I was scrambling for air, because even though I wasn't going to lose my job, if there was another disaster, another hiccup. I mean, we had, and I don't know if you remember back then, we had the SARS disease, we had the foot and mouth disease. I mean, we had oil prices going through the roof. It was like everything was inching us closer and closer to another furlough. And I was going to be the first round to go on this one. So I just realized I felt like I was under the gun. And so I started learning as much as I could. And that's kind of what got me into real estate, was basically, you know, the fear. I was going away from the fear of what I was going to lose in my life and everything. And that's what got me into the real estate world. And then I was, at the time, it wasn't called wholesaling, but basically that's what it was. I learned how to wholesale and basically flip, you know, contracts. And what I learned is I learned a different part of real estate. I learned the communication side of it. And I learned that the highest paid people in the world are the people that know how to communicate and negotiate. And the guy who trained me, he said, Steve, let me tell you something. He said, real estate is great, but that's a tool. He said, it's how you get the deal, how you negotiate, how you communicate, how you relate to people. He said, that's where the money is. And I never forgot that. And I didn't even know what he was talking about, because I was learning how to do double closings and this and that and option assignments. And I had no idea. And I remember I did my first deal and I made like $20,000. It was like a wholesale for 30 days. And I did a double close, and like I had no idea what was going on. Of course, the guy that I was mentoring, he got 50% of the deal. So he was walking me through it. And I was done. And I was, you know, you're like standing at the title company with a check, and I'm thinking, how did this happen? Like, I don't even know what I did. And after I told people what I did, and they're like, you can't do that. And I'm like, I just did it. Like, I did it. And they're like, no, you can't do that. That can't be done. I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, I've got the money and it went in my account. So anyways, that's how I learned a lot about real estate. And then that kind of got my venture. You know, I did that for a couple of years, ended up buying some apartment complexes, went down that path with all the money that I made from wholesaling properties. And then thought I was the smartest guy in the world, me and my business partner, who we're still business partners to this day. We sold the apartment complex. We thought we were the smartest people in the world. And he tells me, I got these great deals. We can make a lot of money. We can buy as many as we want. They're called low income, high cash flow houses. And I'm like, well, why buy one? Let's buy as many as we can. So we buy about 20 of them inside of about a year. And then we realized why people don't own low income, high cash flow houses, because the high cash flow never really materialized, but the low income part did. And I tell people, it's not that those are bad deals. They were just bad deals for what we thought they were. We thought we were going to have hands-off passive income, and it was anything but.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we understood that they've been renters their whole lives, and we've been landlords for a year, and they were going to take us to school and teach us some lessons. And basically, we got taught a lot of lessons in how to deal with tenants and all that kind of stuff. And it was a very dark time in my life, owning those properties.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, let me pause you
Yeah.
there for just a second. Let me ask you a couple questions. So 9/11 happened and you had to pivot. And so you realized that your W-2 income was just not as secure as it used to be. I want to hang there for a couple seconds, and here's why. I can name 7 people on this coffee talk right now that are physicians, and in the midst of this season, what they thought was a stable, strong position were deemed as non-essential because their procedures were not COVID oriented. And so suddenly their physician income kind of went out the door. I know of many people, Cheryl was on here, she owns many restaurants. Restaurant owners were suddenly just saying, hey, everything's changed. When somebody is in that position and they're considering real estate, given that, you see it now in hindsight, what would you say that you would encourage folks to do when they're thinking about moving forward in real estate, but there's a big sense of fear? What mindset would you encourage us to have as we start thinking about this next season that lies ahead? If there's a second lockdown, second wave of COVID, I mean, things are going to go crazy, right? So what's kind of the mindset there?
That's a great question. First of all, let me just say that real estate, like everything, goes in cycles. So this is just a cycle. We call it COVID. You can call it the 2008 recession. You can call it 9/11. It's a cycle, and it normally goes in about 7-year cycles. And it goes up, and then it goes sideways, and then it goes down. So we were in summer, right? If you think of the 4 seasons of the year, we were in summer for about 8 years. Now we're going into winter, right? And so there will be more wealth created in the next 12 to 18 months in real estate than has been in the last 10 years, okay? But for people just like myself, and I still am an airline pilot. I fly for United Airlines. I fly a 787 all over the world. So I have a career. I have a job. However, the biggest mistake people make is they do not prepare for what they're going into. Meaning, if someone's thinking about going into real estate and they're realizing, like I did, holy shit, like this safe, secure career is not safe and secure. The biggest mistake people do is they take immediate action without really thinking what they're taking action doing. So to answer your question, what I would suggest is the first thing you have to do whenever I've mentored people or helped them, the first thing I ask them is, why are you doing this? And what is the goal? Like, what does your life look like as a result of owning real estate? Because everybody has a different goal. One person's goal may be, I want to have $50 million in assets and I want to have, $5,000 a month coming in passive income. I want $20,000 a month. I want this, I want that. That's the end destination that you want to go to. You've got to figure out where you're going, because if you just jump in and take action, that's great, but you could be taking action in the wrong direction. And all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, I'm in worse debt. I'm busier than I've ever been. And someone will go, well, those are the deals that you bought. That's why you didn't think it through. So I think taking the time to slow down will actually speed you up. Meaning, if you can sit there and really think to yourself, why am I doing this? And what do I want as a result of real estate? And more importantly, if I'm married and I have children, what do they want? And the reason I say that is, especially when people get into real estate, and I was one of these people, so I can talk from experience, I think we can be very selfish as investors. And the reason I say we're selfish is, what we do is we come here on this Facebook group, right? We go to Zoom meetings, we read books, we do these seminars, but we never share that with our spouses or significant others or children. So you're the guy that comes back from a seminar with all hyped up on Mountain Dew, and you're doing this, and you're doing that, and you're this, and your wife's going, holy shit, he went to another seminar again. This guy, now we're doing this, now we're doing that. And you don't explain to them what you're doing because you're not aligned with the goal. And the same thing with business partners. And we talked about this when we all did the show together. That communication, lines of communication, and knowing where you're going. And a lot of times, just like I'm sure you guys, you will get people that will come to you and say, hey, is this a good deal? Right? They put it like 2 inches from your face, like you can't see it a little further away. But, is this a good deal? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know what a good deal is to you. It's like asking, it's like, if you were in a car driving on a freeway and you pulled over and said to me, hey, Steve, can I get directions? What is the first thing I'm going to ask you? Where are you going? And if you say, I don't know where I'm going, I'm just driving, and I'm going to go, well, then I can't help you. You'll drive till you run out of gas. And that's what happens to entrepreneurs. They drive until they run out of gas. And they run themselves into the ground. And they go, real estate sucks. real estate is just a tool to get you something. That's the thing. I can't hear you for some reason.
Muted. You're muted, dude.
Oh, did we all mute? I muted you guys and I muted myself. No, I was just going to say, Steve, I think that's great because, like, I mean, especially as an airline pilot, there's like 5 million destinations that you could go to when you jump in the cockpit, right? But you need to know exactly where you're headed. You need to know the course. You need to know the how high you're going to fly. You need to, you know, get to where you know you're supposed to go to. Although you're going to pass over like 50 other amazing cities on the way to, say, Sydney, but you're not going to stop because those other cities aren't your goal. You're going to get all the way to Sydney. And I think what's tough about real estate is that when somebody gets in, especially newcomers, it's this like, oh my gosh, I can wholesale. Oh, I can own property. Oh, I can go over here and I can become a broker, and I'll come over here and I'm going to also become licensed in this. And I mean, I think some people look at Corey and I, and we have so many businesses that it just sounds like that's kind of the way we run. And sometimes it feels like it. But I would say that, you know, we didn't start this way. I started real estate investing when I was in college, and it took a long time to build that direction. And so I love what you're saying. And I would want to just emphasize that right now, that if you're kind of brand new to real estate investing, is pick a path, if you will, find a direction. And when Steve says a goal, sometimes people just go, well, I want financial peace. I want financial health. It's not really that's not a destination. It's basically a characteristic of where you're going to go and how you're going to be when you get there. You kind of got to know exactly what that looks like. And so, Steve, I'm going to throw it back to you. In this season, having sold a multi-million-dollar property management company, bigger pockets, you're flying commercial airlines, you know, in many ways, people would say, hey, you've made it. But yet you're somebody who still has a lot of vision and goals as to what your destination is going to be. So what in this season is your vision, your goals? What is it that's driving you forward?
You know, that's a good question. I think what drives me is probably what drives a lot of people that find success. They want more of it. And you get to a point that you actually get more enjoyment helping people.
Yeah.
And you get more enjoyment because, look, I think it's safe to say that me, you, Corey, many people on this, we don't do this for the money, right? I don't do what I do for the bigger pockets. I don't do this for money. I do this. Now, money's nice. Don't get me wrong, right? But I could just be an airline pilot and I could own real estate and I could never talk to anyone, but I wouldn't feel fulfilled. And so giving back is a way, it's just human interaction. And I think if I can help people avoid making the mistakes that I made, which, you know, I wrote a book on all the mistakes that I made. And one of the things that I would say, you touched on something that I think is important for people to realize is when you're doing your goals and you're going to where you want to go, if I were to tell you, hey, we're going to watch this basketball game, but we're not going to keep score and there's no end game. Well, these guys are just going to go back and forth in the court.
Right.
And you're going to go, well, this is boring, right? Well, that's like people that come up with this dream of what they want. They don't have an end time and they don't keep score of it. So imagine watching a basketball game. You'd get, after a while, you'd be like, well, this is stupid. I'm done. Imagine that. Those are most people's goals. They don't put an end date on it. And they don't put a time limit on it, and they don't keep track of it through metrics and KPIs. So how do they know they're achieving their goals? And the thing about goals is that it's not the actual money, it's what the money gives you. You may say, I want peace of mind. Well, what is peace of mind? Well, peace of mind is $10,000 a month. Is it the $10,000 a month, or is it what it gives you? Because you could sell all of your liabilities and say, well, I have peace of mind by $10 a month because I live in my car, right? So it's very important to really quantify what that is, because most people, like only 3% of the people, write down their goals. 97% of the people do not write down their goals. But that's also in line with the people that are most successful. Yeah. And so I've just learned that, you know, we think that we need to be the doer. So a lot of people will come to me and they'll say, Steve, what do I have to do to have what you have, right? I will be an intern for you. I will work hard. Now, we all know that people are not, there's many people that become entrepreneurs, investors that fail. And it's not because they don't work hard. If there was 25 hours in the day, I'm sure everybody on this call would work those 25 hours if they had to. But yet most people will fail. So you have to ask yourself, it's not because they don't work hard. And I was talking to a guy one time, one of my mentors, And I said the same thing to him. I'm like, what do I have to do to have what you have? You owned a bunch of businesses, multi-millionaire. And he said, Steve, it's not what you have to do. He said, it's who you have to become. He said, you have to change the mindset of who you are, and you have to become that person. He said, doing is just going to make you tired. He said, you have the assumption that if you work hard, you're going to be successful. But there's no proof of that. And there's many people that fail that work hard. He goes, but yet you see other people that are super successful that work less than you. So it's a direct opposite correlation. So he goes, don't assume that working hard, he goes, that's the employee mentality. That's what we're taught, because why? Bosses want to make sure that you work hard because you're getting paid by the hour. You're trading time for money.
Yep.
And so he said, be very careful thinking you have to do. You don't have to do. You have to control. You have to leverage, right? We talked about virtual assistants and all that's right person, right seat. It's a matter of controlling. It's not a matter of doing. And I think most people on this call, that is a mindset that most people, they put in that someday category. Someday I'll do that. Well, someday is the busiest day on the calendar because it never comes, and that's what everybody has dated, right? So you really got to think to yourself, if you don't plan it and you don't have a tactical plan of action, it will never happen. And most people think, I'm just going to hurry up and buy a deal. I'm going to get into real estate. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's like, before you do any of that, I tell people, sharpen the mental axe before you start swinging it. Make sure you know exactly what you're doing. Make sure you know your goals. Make sure you know your strategies. Make sure you know your tactics. Once you know those, getting the deal is the last piece of the puzzle, right? Like you guys and myself, we could look at any type of deal probably and go, I would do this, I would do that, or I could do that with this deal. I've got 3 exits that I could do. And they go, man, how did you know that? It's like, well, I've just been doing it long enough, and I'm educated enough to know. Other person would look at that and go, I'm doing that with that deal, and if that doesn't work, then they fail because they didn't take the time to educate themselves mentally to know what they're doing. And they think it's a ready, shoot, aim mentality. Like, I just got to do it. I just got to get a deal. It's like, no, you don't. And I was that person. I was the guy that was always trying to get deals, and I just thought the more deals, the better, and that was the wrong way to go.
That's awesome. I just have a
love
question.
that,
Go ahead,
I love
Corey.
that because, like, honestly, when the biggest kind of fault I see with new people coming into the space, at which I was guilty of as well, is when you first come into the space, you just want to learn how to do the deal. You want to have the tangible content, and I understand that mindset. But if we can save a few people a lot of time and headache because it really is about the mindset and why are you doing this? Because otherwise you may not be ready for success anyways. So if you might have all the knowledge, you might get lucky where you take down a couple of deals, strike it big, but you may not be ready for the success down the road. And it's actually probably a disservice to you if you're not ready and prepared, because if you're not clear and if you don't know the reason why you're doing this in the first place, you're not going to get very far until you take a couple cracks or the road turns and you have to pivot. Then you have to find out like why you're doing this, because it's easy when times are good, when you're doing deals right from the start. But when times get tough, which they will in any business, then you want to be prepared for those times. Otherwise, you're not ready for success. And some people may have a little bit of a spotlight, in the beginning, hit that turn, and then just crash and burn, So I think it's so important to have the right mindset and the right reason why you're going into this business or any business, because that's really what is the fundamentals of success. So I'm glad you're talking about this and you're the right guy.
Yeah.
For inspiration.
And the thing that people will learn is motivation will only take you so far. You can be motivated, and that is not what's going to carry you year after year. And I think one of the disservices in this real estate industry, I always say the great thing about real estate is there's no rules. You could buy anything you want, like the young lady earlier, she bought a Tesla. So she's like, well, shit, I need to buy something to pay for the Tesla. Like, you can do whatever you want. The bad thing about real estate is you can do whatever you want, and there's no one to tell you that that's the wrong way to go. And if you don't know your own bumpers and your own guidelines, you can put yourself and your family in some serious financial trouble. And the thing that people don't think about, unless, as you said, bad times come, that's the world that's the sandbox we all play in. Nobody thinks about the fact that the mental stress that you go through when you have a shitty property and it's just draining you inside and you don't know what to do. This is the problem when it comes to dealing with that. And again, motivation only carries you, and nobody shows you, what do you do on day 2 when you own this real estate and the tenant says, I'm not leaving, I lost my job, kick me out. And you're going, that wasn't in the course. Like, the course was to how to buy a deal. Nobody told me how to actually deal with it. And how do I do this for the next 30 years and get the 20% cash on cash return? And I think that's the disservice in this industry is, from owning a management company. I mean, we manage 1,000, and it was 1,000 houses, not apartments, by the way, but we had 1,000 houses in 3 cities. We dealt with the wealth. That's where you build wealth, right? That's how the wealth is built over time to build your net worth, in my opinion. Nobody talks about that part. And that's the disservice, I think, because that's not the fun, sexy part. Like, we used to joke saying, property management, like, we're the trash men of the industry. Nobody wanted us, but they needed us, But at the end of the day, if there's not someone to help you create that wealth and keep it, what's the point in doing it? You're just going to be busy, tired, and broke.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to pivot you just a little bit right now. The mindset is completely important. I love it too. Just becoming versus doing is so good. And I think that's where this context of the coffee talk and folks, listening to podcasts, if you anybody on this call want to learn from Steve a bit more, he's got a ton of podcasts that he does. And it's just great to sharpen each other along the way. You touch on a couple things, and I know you don't have a ton of time. We try to keep our coffee hour to about an hour. But one thing you said earlier is KPI. For those who don't know what that is, that's key performance indicator. So if you do set a goal, and in the process of achieving that goal or shooting for that goal, you're becoming who you envision you want to be and not just do. The challenge with real estate is that you can fire and then aim, and then it makes a mess. But a lot of real estate is, if you can aim first, become the skill set that you need to be who you need to be to get to where you want to go, then you're going to have tremendous success. And that's what a group like this is around for. And that's where Steve is a mentor for, and Corey and I. But KPIs are amazing as well, because those are like the mile markers. I guess as a pilot, those are probably the checkpoints on your journey as you fly to kind of make sure you're staying on course. Tell us more about KPIs.
Yeah, KPIs, it's a way to track and measure how you're doing. It's a metric. So let's say, for example, I could look at a scoreboard of any sport in the world, whether it's rugby or whatever it is, right? Soccer. I can look at a scoreboard. I can see who's winning. I can see who's losing. I can see how much time is left in the game. I can see who's about to foul out. I can see everything from the scoreboard, okay? That is a KPI of the game. In school, we have KPIs. They're called report cards. What's interesting is all of that happens, but yet when people call themselves professional investors, they don't have report cards. They don't have scorecards. They don't have any way to track if they're doing good or bad.
Yeah.
So the challenge is that there's no accountability, or there's lack of accountability. People say, like, oh, I don't do that because I'm the owner. I'm like, you should be fired then. If I own the company and you told me that, you would be fired. And the problem is because we are our own bosses, we don't think that we should be fired, but we could be the biggest problem. And you respect what you inspect. And so the thing is when we had our company, we had virtual assistants all over the world. We had 60% of our company was outsourced to Mexico, right? And we learned how to run our company through KPIs, flying. Anything you do, there is a metric in KPI. It could be 3 to 5, it could be 20, it could be 100. Every company in the world runs on KPIs. The problem is most single entrepreneurs don't, but yet most single entrepreneurs fail. So is there a correlation? I would say there is,
Yeah. Hey, so Steve, and maybe even Corey, or anybody else who wants to jump in the chat, what would you suggest would be maybe 1 to 3 great KPIs for somebody just starting in real estate investing? They're excited. They want their first deal. They're looking all over the country. They're listening to podcasts and man, I just got to get my first deal. What is a great KPI for somebody brand new? And I know for Steve, that's rewinding the tape quite a bit, kind of going all the way back to before you got the first deal. Corey, same thing. So what are some good KPIs? I'm brand new. What would that look like for me to help me get to that goal?
Well, to me, and I'll just give you my thoughts is normally you track what's on fire. Like in a business, whatever is fucked up in your company, that's what you're tracking, right? And you go, okay, and it's normally 3 to 5. You don't bury yourself in KPIs, but you're like, okay, for example, in the property management industry, if we had a big problem in maintenance, we're going to track it. If you're overweight, you got to write down what you're eating. If you're losing all your money, you got to go on a budget. If you don't know where your time is going, so a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, they go, man, I don't know where my day's going. And I say, okay, for 2 weeks, write down every minute of your day. And I guarantee you after 2 weeks, you will figure out what's going on. If somebody says, I just want to get my first deal, right? I just want my first deal, right? I'm new to this. I don't know what to do. I say, okay, how many people do you call a day? I don't know. Okay, well, that's probably something we should know. How many phone calls are you making a day? How many offers are you putting in? How much time are you practicing on your scripts and negotiating? If they say none, 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 I'm going to go, well, then you're getting exactly what you should be getting, nothing. So it's hard to say what you should track only because I would have to know what the person wants. Like if I said, hey, Kakoa, you should track how many times you comb your hair a day. And you go, well, I don't need to do that. I've got an automatic hair comber. I'm going to go, okay, well, then don't track that, right?
Yeah,
and so again, you just have to figure out what you're trying to improve upon, and that's what you track. You don't track things that are good. And one of the things that we used to do at our company, we were masters at metrics and KPIs, and I even sell them on my website, but we made them conditional, meaning they were green or red. So we said, okay, if let's just say, how much rent was collected, right? So I've got we had all our properties. We wanted to have a 97% rent collection. Anything under 97% was red. Anything over 97% was green. So when all the team members and everybody would collect all their stuff and it would get aggregated up to us, we may have 100 KPIs, but me and my business partner would look at 3 to 5. And we would look and say, all we're looking for is red or green. If it's green, I don't care because it's hitting the numbers. If it's red, maybe we have a problem. Now, for the ones that are red, I need to have KPIs on the red ones and double down those to investigate, do I have a person problem or do I have a system problem? And that's what you start identifying when you're doing KPIs. It tells you a bigger picture and you can drill down into a specific KPI to a specific problem. So we like color coding them.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. May Akamine loves it too. She said in the chat, love the color code scheme ideas.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
it's awesome.
I agree with that too. I would add maybe specifically somebody who's brand new. Steve, you and I share the kind of the same mental DNA for getting started. And that is, the becoming is important. And I would say if you're brand new, one KPI is how many books are you reading? Second, how many podcasts are you listening to? To this day, every morning I do cardio now from my home gym. But for 30 minutes, I'm listening to Bigger Pockets or Wholesaling Inc. or just a number of different people because it just helps our minds get sharpened and it gets your mental focus on the game. But then in terms of KPIs, I would do those two for becoming. And then in terms of the doing side, I would say exactly what Steve said. Just like you said, how many calls are you making? And then if you're brand new, don't be so worried about the close yet. I would say if you're brand new, how many calls are you making? How many conversations are you having? Because that's the biggest next step. You're making calls and they hang up on you, you're not going to get too far. So set yourself a goal, 100 calls a day, and then maybe 2 conversations a day. Like conversations where a seller says, yeah, I'm interested in talking. Good conversations is the start to a great sales close. And then down the road, work towards conversions. But I'd say that would be kind of what I would say for a good starting point, KPIs for somebody who's brand new in the field. What do you think, Steve?
And the one thing you want, yeah, absolutely. And the one thing you want to do is you want to set those in 90-day increments. See, your brain works in 90-day cycles. That is why there are 4 quarters in the year, and those quarters are 90-day increments. So your brain works best in 90-day cycles. So if you said, okay, by the end of the year, I want to have 2 deals. Okay, so what do I have to do to get 2 deals? Well, maybe I have to look at 100 properties, put offers on 10, get 3 accepted, and buy 1, right? So you say, okay, in the first 6 months, I've got to buy 1 deal. So those are 2 90-day cycles. So the first 90 days, I've got to identify what market do I want to purchase in, and then where do I go from there as far as, you start backing it out. So the first step of the process could be identifying the market and tracking that. And again, you've got to have an end date. You can't just say like, I'm going to do this forever. It's like, no. For the first 90 days, you've got to do that. Then you've got to go to the next cycle because you've got to be doing this for a goal. And you've got to be, you know, it's like being coached and mentored. The reason coaching and mentor works, it's not because I'm smarter than someone. It's not because I'm better. It's because I hold people accountable. So when I tell people, do not show up next week if you don't get your shit done, they go, you know what? I better get my shit done. Michael Jordan was the best player on the planet for basketball, in my opinion. His coaches were not better than him. They held him accountable. That's why he was so successful. That's why, you know, he was the hard worker, but he was held accountable and coached. So that's why coaching and mentor works. It's for the accountability side, in my opinion.
That's awesome. I love it. Love it, man. I'm getting excited. Ready to go.
I'm ready to roll.
I think
Go ahead, Corey.
one tip could be for new people too, because I need this. I know myself is I need accountability to myself and take time, right? So our brother over here, Alex, kind of gave me you know, has been getting me into journaling. So I just got my high performance journal, and this basically we have to, you know, it asks you all the questions. You have to find out what your why is, and then track, you know, what your schedule is, time block, and make sure you're hitting your, you know, your goals, your daily, weekly, monthly, and annual, right? So it's intense. Like, I was looking through this book and I'm like, wow, this is definitely going to keep me accountable, you know? So, and I think we can have this amongst our group as well. And I'm part of a mastermind I think Brandon and David Green, all those guys are in there too. I don't know if anyone on here is with Go Abundance as well, but it's a mastermind where we pay a lot of money basically to be in a pod of like 6 people. And all it is weekly calls with our mastermind pod, and it's just holding people accountable for their goals, right? And if you don't reach your goals and you're not pulling weight in the group, you know, then we might ask you to leave, right? Because we're trying to be all hold each other accountable to be high performers, high achievers, people that want more than just wealth, you know, happiness, health, and how to live a balanced lifestyle. And some people are imbalanced in certain ways, you know, myself included. But the main thing is, like Steve said, accountability, and that is worth a lot of money, you know, that we all pay to be in that group. So
yeah. I completely agree. And just, you know, I think everybody, look, nobody's perfect, right? Everybody has the dark side. Everybody has their dark side, right? And, you know, I've been learning, I was with Tarl Yarber, you know, you guys know Tarl. And so I remember when I was snowboarding with him, well, he was teaching me, but anyways, I was like, man, I'm having a hard time focus. Like, I'm all over the place. And he's like, have you tried meditating? Because every morning I do my I am statements. I write my stuff out. I write my goals out. Like, you know, you see rituals, very common rituals with a lot of people. And so a lot of people write their I am statements, the affirmations, they do all this stuff. You know, Alex, you know, obviously I'm good friends with Alex and you guys and other people, and you find commonalities. And so Taro was like, have you ever tried meditating? And I was like, no. I'm like, I've never done that. He's like, I'm like, I don't think I could sit still long enough, man. He's like, you could do it. He's like, so he talked me through how to do it. So every morning now I meditate, and it's hard to do. It's not something that I'm used to doing, but it's something that it helps me with my dark side of focusing to being on track. And so if I didn't know people like Tarl or people like you guys, I would never learn these kinds of things, right? And I would not be the success that I am. So I always tell people, my success is a direct relation of the people I hang around with, without a doubt, 100%. If I didn't know guys like you and I didn't know these other people, there is no way that I would be where I'm at today. And that, you know, Alex, all these other guys that I know, Brandon, all these guys, I mean, we all are a direct reflection of each other, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, that's good. They say that you are the average of the top 5 people you hang the most with, and so that's a pretty good accountability check.
Can I add my 2 cents?
Yeah, Alex.
I wanted to say something about the networking aspect of the real estate investing, because this is such an amazing community. This is such an amazing way to like get knowledge. However, like if you're newer and you're not really taking like action, I mean, you know, like Steve was saying, like you do need to have a plan though, like, you know, have some clarity about like, okay, what do I want to accomplish? But there's only so much networking you do. You don't have much to potentially offer if you're not taking action, or you don't have challenges that you're coming across that you can get help from because you haven't taken any action. So, you know, there has to be, you know, kind of that balance of where you're yourself, you're also, you know, getting clarity on where you want to go, take that action. Okay, don't get stuck in that paralysis because you're never going to go figure it out if you don't actually go do something. So I would like to, kind of add that to it. And, again, a testimonial to Steve. I met him at a mastermind. This guy's helped change my life. He thinks so differently than I do. I'm a big, vision, guy. I hate the details, but he's helped me embrace that. And he helped me also get a rock star virtual assistant in Mexico that's like my right hand now. I can't even live without the guy. So I just wanted to say thank you again, Steve, and give so much credit to him because, the guy genuinely wants to help people, and he's had so much success, and he's so humble about it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks, Alex. That was fantastic. Hey, I know we're going over time, and Steve, I know we're holding up our video crew down there. A couple just quick last questions. You made a statement earlier that I think everybody would be interested in just hearing a little bit more. You said that you think in the next 6 months, it could be one of the most profitable seasons for real estate investors ever. Yeah. What did you mean by that? So kind of first question, kind of what you mean by that. But then more importantly, what are you doing in preparation for what could be potentially one of the greatest seasons for real estate investors?
Sure. Yeah. So if you look at cyclically and historically, the most wealth is created in down cycles, because if you're educated and you know what you want and you're out hunting, when everyone's running away, the successful investors are contrarians, meaning they're opposite of the crowd. Everyone's running away because stocks are crashing. I'm going in and buying, right? So I taught my son how to buy some stocks. So my son's making money buying stocks right now because everyone's selling, right? So most people are going, the stock market's crashing. This is horrible. And I'm going, this is actually pretty good. United Airlines was $90 a share. Now it's 20. Why wouldn't I buy $10,000? Like, you know what I mean? So it's just a different mindset. So if you think about this with real estate, let's just say we're looking in the Texas area. The average houses are $250,000, or you get a rental for 160, right? I can go ahead and if I find a deal for 95, I know eventually it's going to go back up, right? So all the wealth after 2008, there was more millionaires made since the inception of 2000, since 2001 recession, 2010 and 2011, there were more millionaires made in real estate than in the last 20 years. So that's why. But it's the ones that are educated, that are ready to take action, that have shored up capital, that have the reserves, that are ready to attack. And so when you ask what I'm doing, I'm shoring up my capital. I've got my money set up. I'm setting up relationships with people that are saying, hey, I may start buying. I'm like, okay, let me know where you're going. Let me know what you're doing. I don't need to be the expert. I just want to be around the experts. And so, you guys are looking at deals. Okay, you see a deal, I'm game. And so it's being able to be open and having that mindset of not being the scared person because of fear, but actually seeing it as a time to take action. And that's why I think more wealth will be created, and it will be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And for you in particular, what are you looking at these days? Multifamilies, single families?
I'm looking at deals that I don't have to do as much on. Like, I'm not looking to get a house, and the days of me walking and rehabbing and I don't call it lazy. I don't know what you want to call it. I just have so much going on. I would rather do a deal. If you guys called me up and said, hey man, you want in on this? We've got this deal, I'd be like, I'm in. So to me, it's, the thing that I've learned is when it comes to real estate, the actual tactic, meaning what it is, if it's multifamily, single family, it's all irrelevant to me. It's that real estate is just a vehicle to get me to a destination. Just like owning a stock, just like owning intellectual property, owning a business. It's just a vehicle. I'm not attached to it. I'm looking at the numbers. The numbers will dictate the deal. If you said, hey, Steve, you want to get multifamily? We've got this great deal. It's going to make you negative $20,000 and you're going to lose $100,000. You want in? I'm going to go, no. But they go, I got a single family. You could probably double your money in 6 months. Okay, that's better. So I don't look at the tactic. I look at the numbers. And if the numbers make sense, I'm in. Like, I'm in opportunity zones, conservancy zones. I'm in mobile home parks. So I'm in different stuff as long as the numbers make sense.
That's awesome. That sounds fantastic. Right on, Steve. Man, that we could go on for hours like we usually always do. We'll do it over sushi again next time you're in town.
There you go, man.
Or we'll meet up in Maui. But man, we sure have appreciated you. The comments on the chat are awesome, great content. Just as always, just thank you for redirecting our mindset. You're amazing. Steve, what's the best place for people to get more information about you or what things are going on in your world?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of stuff on Instagram. My last name, Rozenberg, Rozenberg, Rozenberg Steve. You can also go to my website. I have steverozenberg.com. I do a lot of stuff with Bigger Pockets. I've got a show every week. I actually do a show on Bigger Pockets Facebook where I bring on some pretty big hitters like Brad Lee and some other. I'm going to have David Osborne on there. So I've got some pretty big people that I interview live Q&A. Then on Mondays, I actually do an Instagram live coaching session. So we pull someone, we bring them on, and I actually do a one-on-one coaching session with them live on Instagram for Bigger Pockets. So
That's awesome.
if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see all the stuff that I do. And again, if I can give back, I love giving back. And, if anybody wants something from me and they want to reach out, you guys know this because you guys know firsthand that I'm pretty forthcoming with information and help. And I try to give everything I can away, man. Anything I can give. And my thing is the more I give, the more I get. And the more hands you shake, the more money you make. And that's what I've learned, And I just, to me, the friendships and the relationships are more important than any kind of dollar amount that we can put in our bank account. So I'd rather be able to call you up and say, hey, Corey, I'm coming to the islands. Let's hang out. And you'd be like, no problem. Let's do it. And that to me is worth more than any dollar amount that you could make. So I appreciate you guys and everyone on there. If I can help you, you can send me a message. I get back to everybody and I do my best to either connect you with people. I know quite a few people, so I can connect people with people or I can hook you up with whatever I can. But if I can do something to help you, please let me know and I'll be glad to do it.
That's awesome. And I'm going to put in one last plug for Steve. Steve has hooked us up on our property management and our construction company with an extremely amazing virtual assistants from Mexico. We have discovered a night and day staffing differential. And so Steve's got a real cool organization for that. He set up his entire 1,000 door property management company based all through virtual assistants from Mexico, which is fascinating. So that's a whole nother conversation for another.
It's a whole other conversation.
It's a massive conversation. But if you're looking for a virtual assistant, what's the best way for virtual assistants? If anybody's looking for that, Steve.
Yeah, they can just reach out to me, and then you guys know you talk to Daniela. Daniela's my right-hand person, my work wife, basically in Mexico, and she's my rock star. So anyone that wants to do that, send me a message or email me, and I'll get you in touch with Daniela. She finds out what disc profile you need, what job duties, what job descriptions, and she just takes care of it. So yeah, the VA, you've got to do it these days. A virtual assistant, if you're not using one, you probably are not using the best advantage tools that exist as far as leveraging people, time, and money. And that to me, it's all about right person, right seat. And that's a whole other, maybe another one if you want to bring me on, just about leveraging.
Another one. I know, right? You're awesome. There's so many things we can talk about. But hey, Steve, thank you so much. I know the camera crews are waiting, so go for it. Take care for now. And we'll let you go. If you need to get off, that's totally fine. We're going to wrap up just a little bit here. But how about a round of applause to say thanks to Steve Rozenberg?
Thanks, everybody.
Hey,
Appreciate
Steve,
it.
thank you so much. Literally giving everything away and helping Kiko and I. Thank you.
My pleasure, man. I'm glad I could help. You guys are good guys. You guys help out. Least I could do is do the same. So if anyone needs anything, please reach out. I've got to get back to filming because I'm paying these guys to sit around and whatever. Playing soccer. I don't know what they're doing. So anyway, take care, guys. We'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
Sounds good. One for everybody else, thanks so much for joining us on this Friday as we kind of hit the middle of June. Any final announcements that anybody wants to make or anything that, any final comments?
And I want to just challenge everybody, just like Steve said, because I know there's a lot of new investors on here that really haven't pulled the trigger on anything, or they're trying to figure out how to get started. I would say, hold yourself accountable, grab an accountability partner, because the first step to getting started is taking the first step, so reach out to at least one person this week that you don't know, could be someone random, and, try to build a relationship, see how you can serve that person, and, that person will see how they can serve you as well. That's the culture that we're nurturing here. And that's how we do deals and build wealth together. So anything last that somebody needs to discuss or bring up?
Just one more thing, Coco, we were talking about, there's a new product out now, like for first timers. Before you had to have a flip before that we'd be able to look at you. Now, if you have a mortgage on your primary residence now or in the past for 12-month history, they look at it as not a first timer any longer.
Nice.
So that's something that's out there. It just came out this week. Also, in the past, what I've told a lot of my borrowers and brokers I've dealt with for years is, if anyone's ever heard of, it's called optout.com, OPTOUT.com. If you go on there, it's a 5-minute survey. And what it's telling all of the credit card companies is to not send you any solicitation, and it raises your credit score about 10, 15 points.
Yeah.
So it's just another tool to raise your score.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm going to just vouch for that. I actually did it again 2 weeks ago. I do it about every 2 years. It kind of re-ups, and it's fantastic. It really helps keep your credit score as high as possible.
Right.
And having all these random polls.
Yeah.
So
It takes about 5 minutes to fill it out.
super easy for, you and your spouse. Good stuff. Thanks, Scott. Sweet. Anything else? This was great. I'm just curious too. Yeah, out.com, Ellen, that's exactly what it is. Wanted to, we're kind of lining up some pretty cool guests, and it's been a lot of fun, but is there any other particular topics that you're interested in hearing about? Because that'll help us to kind of select the guests, or if you have a story that you would love to share or something like that, shoot Corey or I a message. That would be awesome. Or on the Facebook page, go ahead and shoot us a direct message. We'd love to hear from you as well. But for now, Keiko Exchange on Facebook is where you'll find us. Justin monitors it, so thank you, Justin. You're awesome. He always lets Corey and I know right away, as well as our other team members, about any questions. So our staff ranges all the way from Florida to the islands of Hawaii and all the way in between. And so if you've got a question about property management or lending or brokerage or hard money or flip housing and all that kind of stuff, just let us know. If we can't help you connect with somebody, then we'll definitely do the best that we can to help answer some of those questions. We love it. It's good fun. So I think that's it for us on this side. Corey, anything else?
Nope, that's all I got.
Yahoo! Well, right on, everybody. Thanks for joining us. That was super awesome. Good thing we met Steve at the sushi place a couple years ago, huh? He's such a great guy.
He's such a great guy. Steve is awesome.
Yeah, he's a real deal, which is amazing considering how successful he is and how busy he is. He's just he's amazing. So
yeah,
well,
he has a podcast as well. If you guys want to check out some of his episodes, some really inspiring content on there. And I think he was on Bigger Pockets too. I think
he was. I think episode 280 something or other. I was listening to him again. He's got a good story. So. Well, right on, everybody. Thanks, Cassie. Thanks, everybody, for being on again this week. We're here to keep the conversation going. So thank you much, and we will catch all of you again next week or somewhere in between. If you need anything, let us know, and stay healthy, stay safe, and hope you have a great week as you become all that you want to be in real estate investing. Aloha.
Take care, guys. Aloha.
Aloha. We got to get this live Facebook thing going.
Yeah.
I got to.
You.
Right now, we're just we're recording.
On YouTube as well. The live stuff this time?
It's you get a choice. You got to record in Zoom or you get Facebook Live. But if we Facebook Live, it's like you might as well just come on the Zoom and be live.
Yeah.
Because on Facebook Live, you can't, there's not any communication, where over here you can actually talk and chat and stuff. So, yeah.
Hey, bro, what's going to happen to your Hertz points and stuff, your Hertz exclusive membership?
Bro, who cares about Hertz? Did you hear about 24-Hour Fitness? Chapter 11, bro. They're going to shut down 120 stores or gyms. So, you know what I think we should do?
Make it a few months.
We should diversify, and we should buy them out.
Oh, actually, they might be liquidating some of their machines. Actually,
I think we can just get at-home gyms and let's stay focused on the private equity.
That's probably smart. Set goals, all that Steve said.
After we have the $1 billion fund, let's go poaching some companies.
Perfect. So sometime next year.
Yeah, there we go.
I love how you call on everybody at the beginning because it would get everybody involved. We gotta pick someone random one day and just make them turn their camera on.
I know. Well, I was excited to see Cheryl on. I haven't seen Auntie Cheryl for a long time. In fact, I think she's still on. Is Auntie Cheryl still on? It's so good. She's so busy. Oh, all we see is her apartment building. That's awesome. Oh, it'd be so good to have one really good local moco right now from Rainbow Drive-In.
That sounds pretty good.
Doesn't that sound good?
What is who we got next week? We got anybody for next week?
Tom Porter, Ohio.
That's a tough one to follow, man. Steve was just dropping bombs. There were so many cool nuggets there. I was like, holy crap. I loved the one that made me die was the busiest day of the year.
Oh, someday.
Yeah, someday.
Yeah.
Busiest day of the year on the calendar.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my
Mark
god.
everything for someday.
That's hilarious.
That it feels like our everyday.
But when you're standing next to the guy, he's physically imposing too. He's a big dude, but he has a big heart. Super soft guy. Like
his heart is bigger than his size, but brah, if you see him down one dark alley in the middle of downtown,
You're walking across the street. You're like, nope.
You would run the other way, man. He's just scary looking. But then he smiles, and you're like, oh, you seem nice.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I remember the first time that I think he gave me a hug. I had to go to the hospital. I squeezed everything out. It's crazy.
Yeah, he was dropping some inspirational stuff. And it's all like super necessary. When I was just getting started, like I said, I would glance over that stuff. I want to just hear like marketing strategies and content, like tangible content. And I paid for it later, but the mindset is everything,
Well, and that's the funny part, when you go through public education or even private education in high school and college, they teach you about the book smarts, but they don't really teach you a lot about the mindset, and just the perspective that you got to have to succeed. And so I think that's so much a part of real estate investing because it's such a difficult industry if you don't have the mindset. It's so discouraging, like if you got to make all those calls.
I mean, any business is tough to get started in.
Yeah.
But real estate, I mean, it's competitive too nowadays, right? There's when the market, because we've been on a long bull run, so everybody's in real estate, right, in some fashion. But if the tides turn, only the guys who, like you said, have the fundamental training and know why they're doing this are the people who won't only survive, but they'll thrive because they're going to prime themselves for the opportunity ahead.
Yeah, it's super true. Super true. It's good. All right. Well, I've got to get rolling.
Yeah, rolling, brother.
Rolling. It's actually, I think it's 80 degrees here today. We've got aircon in the house.
Over there.
What's that?
How hot does it get over there in summer?
I think right now it's going to be like 80, 85 degrees. Somebody said, I don't know if Chris was on from Vegas, but it's like 110 right now.
Oh yeah, it's summer. That's why.
That's crazy. So you heard our house got broken into in Vegas.
4th time, dude.
I know, man.
4th time.
I know. It's so crazy. I'm glad we have a security system. Man. It's all right. At least the guy only broke in and stole staging wine.
Yes.
Was there wine inside of it, or is it just water?
Yeah, it was staging, but he stole it. I guess he was going to drink it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did they catch him?
Yeah, we got him on surveillance camera, so the police called.
Oh, sick. Layla's on site. This is Makaha.
Nice. Hey, Layla,
Yo.
try show them again. You have to talk so that way your footage comes out big.
Oh, sorry. So this
Yeah.
is the open great room.
Nice.
They just drywalled.
This is all brand new. Yeah, they're taping right now. Pantry. We're gonna have the fridge, range, you know, kitchen, sink, dishwasher.
Hey,
Opens
Layla,
up.
try back up to the refrigerator. Oh, I was just checking if you got the water line for the ice. I see them.
Not my first rodeo, brah.
I know. I didn't see them at first. Just making sure.
And then the patio opens up to this is the master.
Oh, nice master. That's big.
Huge master.
Yeah.
Walk in for days. Yeah, walk inside.
Oh, you got one walk-in inside the walk-in.
And then the bathroom, linen, double vanity, shower.
Nice.
Back to the hall. And then we got second bath, double vanity. This one, we're doing a tub shower combo for the keiki.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a regular 2 showers, but we changed it to a tub.
Yeah, that's smart.
Bedroom 1, bedroom 2, and then bedroom 3.
Oh, it's kind of crazy. It's that one big hallway that goes around the whole thing like a big circle, yeah?
Yeah, I really love this layout. It's a
Yeah.
great layout.
How many, is that 1,400 square feet?
18. 18.
1,800. That's good size.
And then the other 2 that we're not working on, A and B, those are 17.
Yeah, that's nice.
We got Fanny guys here.
Oh, I got a need. Shucks. We need a concrete guy. Because our bid came in super high. 62,000.
Well, Simote told me that the driveways out here, or the concrete out here is being poured already, like coming up pretty soon. The slabs. So I guess that was already in his bid to put the slabs in. It's the second house. It's exactly the same. I don't know if you want to walk through, but they're hanging. So I kind of don't want to get in their way.
That's okay. Thank you, Layla.
Yeah, and then we're finishing up the paint. They're having a hard time with these back two.
How come they're having a hard time on the paint with those two?
They've been sitting for 6 months.
Oh yeah, that's not good. It's amazing how hard the weather is on houses when they just sit. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing.
And it's Macau, so it's dry.
Yeah. Ashley's working on our renderings to go to market soon, pre-sale.
So
your voice suddenly went like Star Wars kind.
It's like Transformers.
Yeah, it sounded like Transformers. It's funny up here too. It's dry down there, so it makes the houses tough. Like up here, because of the moisture, when houses sit, man, it's so quick that they start getting all moldy.
Opposite.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just not good for houses to be empty.
So this is the other layout. We're just doing exterior paint. They're finishing trim, and then I have Simote working on the bid to do the finish work on these two. So at least we have the number once we decide to move forward on these.
Let's do it. Let's pre-sell them. Let's get out. Yeah. Get out. Keep our cash. Get ready.
Trying.
How much landscaping are we going to do?
Well, this requires very little because there is very little area to landscape. It is majority concrete.
Yeah, and it looks pretty dry. Pretty tough to do landscaping without an irrigation system.
Well, it's why
the houses are so close. They're all stacked so close together because they're the 6 lots. They squeeze them in so tight. So we might not have much for a yard, but
No, there is no yard. No yard. Like maybe like 200 square feet of yard on each house. Very little.
Hey, Kiko, you and I gotta talk about the other fund, yeah?
Who's on this call right now?
Everybody's still on.
Oh,
okay. Cheryl's back.
Sorry. I'm monopolizing your guys' call. My bad.
No, it's very
interesting.
We're just hanging out. Tay had a question.
That's awesome.
Oh no, Tay, this is the one down the road. This is our 6-house development. The last one was our 4-house development, which was right next door.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny to get 2 back to back. Hey, brother, I got to roll, but I'll catch up with you later. And then, yeah, our attorney just needs a little bit of feedback on that fund. But more importantly, I just want to say, Auntie Cheryl, thanks for joining us.
No, thank you guys. You guys are doing great. Sorry, I had to go send a certified mail out.
No,
I have a couple things I had to do. So, but great job, you guys. I was just gonna send you guys a big thank you note. So thank you. Great job.
Yeah. Are we gonna start the mastermind again?
I want to. Once the governor, so you know, I'm meeting with the governor. I'm on the Navigator. You know the Navigator committee.
Mm-mm.
So the governor created a committee by Alan Oshima. Alan Oshima is